So here are the colors that we're going to be using today, and I'm working on an 11 by 14 white primed canvas. I just painted over an old painting. I let it dry, and we've got phthalo blue, neon pink, neon orange, neon yellow, and Mars black, and titanium white. If I add any other colors here, I'll let you know, of course, and I'll post them below in the description box. So I'm first going to squeeze out a few little drops. I'm just working on a big colorful background, so I don't have to be too careful. Those are little dabs of the phthalo blue, and this is Arteza. Okay, now I'm going to come in with my neon pink. This is Artist Acrylics by Holland. And then a little bit of white. The white right there. So I'm going to use my really fun large blending chalk brush. This is a 3-inch, found it at Walmart and through Amazon. Just going to start swirling my brush around, pulling and wiggling and turning, making all sorts of swirls, little circles. So just by doing that, look at all the different beautiful tones that we've got. Now it's getting a little bit hard to blend the paint around, so what I'm going to do is get a tiny bit of water, just a little bit, and that might be a bit too much. I'm going to be adding some white in with this. Possibly some more of my neon pink. Whoops. Actually, I think the color that I want to add, I'll bring in some of this neon yellow and make a turquoise color. So with phthalo blue and white with a bit of neon yellow, we'll be able to create turquoise, just like that. Now once dry, this will be a shade or two darker. Okay, I'm going to leave it like that, wash my brush off, and I'm going to switch over to a Filbert brush, and here I've got number 12. It's a number 12, I can barely see it, Filbert brush, so I'm going to get it a little bit wet. Move these out of the way. And let's see if this is, no, that's all dry. That's from yesterday. I'm terrible for cleaning my palettes. So I'm just going to take a little bit of white like this. And I'm going to start creating some clouds and lighter tones. So with this painting, what I really want to do is create lots of soft pastel colors and get a beautiful tone to all the smoke that's coming out of this train. Instead of just doing black and white and making gray, why not use some fun and pretty colors? I'm going to make it a little bit brighter right here. So the train is going to be just a little, I'm just even going to do a little shape. It's just a rectangle, guys. Just a little rectangle like this. And then we'll have our train track going like this. You can barely see that. I just have a little line there. And then this will be the where the smoke comes out of. So it's going to be brightest right behind the train, right over here. This might have to dry off a little bit first. And I think what I might do is switch over to one of my little mop brushes here. This is a nice small size. And I'll just soften. So barely touching the canvas, I'm just doing light, soft little puffs of smoke back here. I want to do this first before I add the black, because this is behind. So in order for it to stay looking like it's behind, we really want to work on the background first. We'll just get a little line going in there to help remind us that's where the train track is. Softening some more. And I'm going to start to build up. I'm going to keep using this brush and see how this works. So we've got a shape like this. It gets narrower and narrower, and then we're going to paint it darker inside, but I first want to do the larger white bits. And I'm liking this little brush because I can make it look fluffy and round, creating those round puffy peaks at the same time, combined with just a little bit of water. So layer upon layer. It's going to be lighter in color back here. So I'm going to go ahead and add some more white in. Dry my brush off slightly. All I'm doing is creating soft little circles. Okay, so I'm going to actually squeeze out some magenta. I didn't show this before, but I decided to add this. This is actually Grumbacher Violet, but it's pretty much the same as magenta and quinacridone violet. I'm going to mix it a little bit with some phthalo blue. Again, it's Arteza I'm using, phthalo blue, but any brand. You guys just always ask what brand I'm using, so I'm just letting you know. And I'm going to dry my brush off here. Take the two colors together like this. instead of using black, I want to use these colors to make my dark color because I think it'll be more interesting. So it's small, 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 and then it gets a little bit bigger. I'm going to start leaving some spaces. And then I'll do a basic outline of this train, the front of this train now. So it was a rectangle at first that we did, right? And now we're going to come and do like the top of a house. So half a triangle, a little line here and a little line here. And then make it a little bit bumpy on the side. So I have those little, I don't know, little pipes or whatever little things are on the sides, rails or something. I'm going to take a little bit more, go around like this. Again, this is just my magenta and my phthalo blue. And then there is a big circle, the big headlight right there. So I'm not going to bother painting that in because I need that to be light. And then it goes kind of in here, so two little lines that go in and then flat on the bottom. And there we have our little front of the train. I'm going to take a little bit of my white and blend it with that blue and magenta, and I'm going to start coming in between here, softening. We'll get all sorts of colors going here. And it's going to be darker in here, so let's go ahead and add some dark right here. And we'll stop right about there. Take some of my white, and it's mixed with the color that's on my brush already. I'm going to do the same thing on the other side now. Bring this dark in here. And come around. And this is going to get lighter and lighter. And then dark right in here. A little area right in here is going to be dark. I'm going to go back over to my Filbert brush. Sort of flatten this out here. Take a bit of blue, pull right under here as well. I'm going to do some little circles in here, little twirls with my brush just to create all those puffy clouds of smoke. A little bit of water on my brush. A little bit more blue. So I'm going to take my white, and by mixing the phthalo blue and magenta, I can actually make a light blue violet. And I'm going to start to make this lighter again. Mix a bit more white in there. A little bit more white. And twist and turn in the center for what is going to be our headlight pretty soon. A little bit more white down here. I wanted this to be bright enough before I added the train, but like usual, the paint dries a little bit darker. Start to define these a little bit more now. Now you could use any brush that you want. I'm going to do it white first, and then I might come over with a glaze later on. Get a little bit water on my brush. You can see it's starting to be a little bit dry, and it'll be harder to move that paint around, and I don't want to end up pressing too hard to try and get the paint out. Get a bit more white on there. A bit more. So whatever brush you want to use to create these little puffs of smoke. You can use a round brush, a liner brush. I'm just going to keep adding more and more white, less water. I'm just softening underneath. You want to leave it the darkest right behind your brightest highlight. And you can make as many layers as you want. I think it's fun to paint these, so I'm going to do a lot of them. And by watching me paint a lot of them, you'll learn better. I think I want that one to be up a little bit higher. So I'm going to wash my brush off and go back to my blue magenta. And I'm going to start adding some shadows in here, right behind where my darkest is. And then come in here and take this one right out. Bring this down just a little bit lower. I want to be able to see some of the smoke right here, a little bit of a highlight, so I'm going to go as close as I can without taking that right off. And I'm going to just bring this up. And then a dark spot right here, right in the corner. Adding my darks right behind my brightest highlight, like I mentioned a few times now. But that's a dramatic smoke, isn't it? I think that looks really cool. I'll just soften this a little bit. I'm going to come in with some more of my magenta, phthalo blue, and again, you can use any brush you want, but if you want to use your Filbert, you definitely can. I'm just pulling and then turning and pulling like that, twisting it around. Okay, I'm going to make this train a little bit darker. And on the edge like this. Make this a little bit darker inside. A little bit more. Accidentally picked up a little bit of white there. I don't want that. So just wash my brush out and come back down here. You can definitely use black for this if you want. But this is quite dark, so I don't think I really need to use any. I'm going to switch to a smaller brush now. I've got, actually no, not that one. Maybe this little guy. This is it says Filbert. I guess it is a little bit of a Filbert. It's got a bit of a round end. I thought it was a round brush, but it'll work really well. I'm going to take some of my yellow, a little bit, and my neon orange. White, a little dab of yellow. Let's put it in this little area. I want it to be really clean. And let's go inside here. Oh, that might be a little bit wet still. I need to add another layer of white over this and wait for it to dry, I think, guys. And we'll have to come back to that. I want to take a little bit of my magenta and blue just to make this circle needs to be bigger. So I'm going to go around, pull, and bring it around just like that. And then if we get it a little bit too wide, like right in here, we can just take that off, add some blue and balance that out. Right around it. And the circle inside, the light inside, isn't going to be this big, so I'm going to make that slightly smaller just by doing this. There we go. And I'm gonna just redo this line right here. And there's a couple of lights on this side, on either side, so I'm going to add those right now, just in white first. Wait for them to dry, and then I'll add, oops, little drips of water there. And then I'll add my yellow and orange to that after. Alright, so what we want to do is switch to a little liner brush now. There are a few little lines that we can see on here, little rails. I don't know. We're gonna try to make a light blue color, just sort of this bluey gray color. And first I'm gonna come around, do a line inside like this. Do a little skinny rectangle like this. If it doesn't show up, then let's add a little bit of blue to the outside. And then I'm going to do a little ring around the inside of that. I'm going to take a little bit more of my white now I'm getting a little bit of water just to help loosen that paint. And yeah, so it comes in, there's little spots where it comes in like this, and then across. I'm not out for a photograph. We don't worry about doing everything totally perfect, but we do want to have some lines in here. So we're going to do a little line there, down here, one here, so like a little rectangle, and then we're going to have one that goes slanted like that. 1, 2 across the bottom. Reload my brush with paint and water. Redo that again. See, I'm not worried if it's not perfectly straight. And we'll do those lines again, down, little slant that way. I'm going to soften this up a little bit, lighten it up is what I mean. Soften with some, let's see, I've got my mop brush here, and I'm going to get it a little bit wet because I'm not trying to get a bush shape. All I want to do, if I wanted to make foliage, I wouldn't have gotten it wet first. I just want to soften this and blend a little bit. I need a little bit more blue. Oh, that might be a bit too much. Just a little bit in here. A little bit lighter like this. And then this color is darker than this, so I'm going to brush over here just to help add some shade down here because it's a bit too bright. A little bit more in here. I'll go back to this little mini mop brush, and I'm going to take some of my neon pink. And let's try this, guys. Let's take a little bit of neon pink, a little bit of blue and white. Got a bit too much on there. I made a pretty purple color. And I want to, it's too wet, so I'm just going to wipe the excess off on my towel. And then I'm going to come in here and add some smoky plum purpley kind of a color. Look at that, we can add a little glaze. Even right in here. Put a little white on there. This is looking pretty cool. Let's take some of this pink here. We'll add some down in here too. Yeah, that looks nice. I'll I haven't painted a lot of trains before, but for whatever reason, it's kind of popped into my mind. It's definitely inspired by an image I saw on Pinterest, actually. Take some just straight neon pink, and I'm going to add some little bushes in here. And we'll do that. Should make this look more like a track. Let me just quickly switch over to a little flat brush. Some blue, some pink, a little bit of white. Nothing too dark. I want to just go under here first, and can't really see this in the photo. It's not really that important, but we just need to have some lines going that way, so you get the idea. And then right in here, a bit of a shadow. So I'm just going to pull and flick out this way. And we've got some pink. Just casting down here. I think I want to add a few little trees in here. And put that in water. Back to my liner brush. A little bit of pink, white, and blue. I'm going to do some little tiny, I need some more white. Little tiny puffs like this, because they're smaller when they first come out. Gonna make a light bubblegum pink color, I think. Why not? This is pretty. I'll add a little bit in here. Oops, too much. A little bit over here. I can't wait to add the headlight pretty soon. You know what we need is a little highlight. So I just took a little bit of orange, white, yellow, and I'm going to do pretty skinny and then push and then let off. Kind of want to do that in one stroke, otherwise it gets chopped up like that, and then that will not look like the safest train track, will it? So just a little something like that, and then a little highlight over at top of that. You can wait till it dries if you want. Sometimes doing these little lines are the most difficult thing to do. I'm trying to be so careful. And I'm going to come in with, make my dark color again here with my blue and my pink. And I'm going to add darkest shadow right inside of that and right outside. And a little square underneath, or a chunk, like a little skinny rectangle, I guess. There. define that. Just dip down a little bit in here. A bit of water on my brush, a little bit more pink and blue. And then it just goes off like that. Okay, I wonder if this is, make sure I get all of that blue and pink out of there. See if this is ready to take my bright color. So I'm starting with, yeah, it is perfect. My neon yellow, and then right into my neon orange. Oh, that's so cool. So satisfying using neon paints. I'm gonna take my neon pink with an, oh, picked up a little bit of blue on there. Neon pink, neon orange to make neon red. And right on the outside here, whoops, that didn't work. I'll just go around on the outside like that. I think that's a little bit too dark. I know it looks, definitely looks darker on the videos. It's not as dark as what you guys are probably seeing. There we go. Okay, and I'm going to add a little highlight again over this. And then some trees. First, a little bit more of my white in here. Okay, so I'm going to use pink and almost said black. Dark blue, my phthalo blue. You can use black for this if you want. I'm just going to give this another outline here. Oh, I still have to do those little lights as well. And I'm just going to add a few little wisps. Skinny little branches and trees. Nothing too detailed. It's a foggy morning, I think. I'll say it's early in the morning. I want to switch to my other liner brush that's way better than this. Oh, please be here. For some reason, here it is. For some reason I always lose this brush. I think it's my cat Henry's favorite brush, or he just likes to hide it on me. Just to do little flicks like this. Let's get some more pink in there. Maybe we could add a little bit of a highlight. So a little bit of white mixed with, yeah, that's pretty. Just a little bit here. A little bit of white mixed with the pink and the blue. Do some here on the other side. A little bit more water, a little bit of white, twist, roll, turn your brush around. Make a little bit of turquoisey color here. It's not the nicest turquoise. I think I'm actually just going to squeeze out my favorite turquoise. This is Liquitex Basics Bright Aqua Green, but it is turquoise. I'll squeeze a little bit of that out. And mix some white with it. Lighten it up a little bit. And we'll have indications of some highlights. This minty color up here too. See how this looks. If I don't like it, I'll just paint over it. But I like that, so I'm going to leave it. Add some of the smoke. Let's use another little blending brush for that. Soften that a little bit, take a little bit of my phthalo, just a little bit of phthalo blue in there. Make more of a bluey green color. And where can we add some of that? You don't really need this in the painting, but I go by colors for colors lead me in my art. I like that little bit of color there. Okay, I'm going to add the little light inside here, so I'm just going to take a little bit of neon orange. Lighten this up a little bit. It's a bit too dark. So there's enough white on there that I can just kind of play around with that. And I think that looks better. Actually, I think I need a little bit more. There, just a little bit darker right there. A little bit more orange in here. Whoops. Whoops, whoops, whoops. I think this painting is just about done. Oh. There we go. Almost done. Just make sure you have that dark enough there. And then I'm just being picky now. You don't need to do this, but if you want, you can do some dark little dabs. Dab, dab, dab. All around this headlight. Like that. And then a little bit more white. Just a little bit brighter. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one today. I know I sure have. Just a little bit more smoke here, and then I'm going to soften that up with my little tiny little mop brush here. This is kind of a stipple brush. It's kind of stiff, but it makes for a nice blending brush too. This area right here. Just adding a little bit of pink. It's going to dry darker. Pretty purple color once it's all dried. I can add a little bit more of the pink in this one. Okay guys, I am all done. I want to thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful day. Please subscribe to my channel for more, and head over to Patreon where you can help support these videos that I make for you just about on a daily basis now. So I work very hard, guys, and I would really, really appreciate all of your support. Thanks. Bye.